do you think your first practice went?
Actually, pretty good. I think chemistry-wise, I think it's pretty easy to play with like these kind of top players and like quality players. They all know like clearing and like what's needed to score a goal. And I mean they're fun guys. So for me, it was pretty easy to go in and feel the vibe of the O-line and the whole team actually. So yeah.
Having just shown up, do you think you're the fastest on the team?
No.
Who do you
I
think
saw AD being pretty fast. I think John Randall is also pretty fast. So one of those two.
When you're on the field, do you talk trash?
Not really, actually. I'm not used to it, but now I live with Alex Atkins. It's getting more and more into my system. So, but no, I don't like to do it. But if it, I mean, sometimes. Like,
after one practice, who do you think talks the most trash on this team?
I mean, I was like, Nick Whitlock was actually talking a lot of trash, and then Antoine was talking so much trash, and like Alex, they were just like a tree and a couple like talking trash the whole time, and I was like behind them. I was like, what the hell is this?
So 2 of the first 3 Empire games that you're playing are against Boston.
Yeah.
So obviously during mid-season, how did you prepare in Belgium so you could hit the ground running and be ready for Boston? This weekend and then
yeah. I mean, I was just ready to go when I had the green light, and it didn't really matter who we were gonna play. I think it's just important that I will play as fast as possible, and to get like the chemistry with all the guys and everything. It didn't really matter if it was Boston, if it was Montreal, if it was Toronto or Philly. I just want to play and to get ready with the team for the most important games at the end of the season.
Yeah, so this is your second year obviously in the league.
Yeah.
What do you think you learned about the UFA in your 10-game classic?
That in the UFA you have to be more, it's more focused throat, I think, and less with legs. So I think that's the most thing I've learned, and like kind of like vision-wise, you have to kind of like set up another mindset kind of. So yeah, I think that's probably the biggest difference.
Let's talk a little bit about Toba and Lander. What makes those 2 special players, both as opponents and as teammates?
I mean, they're just like so talented. They grew up in a family of frisbee, and Toba has been working hard his whole life to get on this point, and he earns it. He's playing fantastic, and I think Lander is as talented as Toba actually. And I think he's just more the goofy brother, but he loves the game. They both love the game, and I think they're a perfect fit for Boston and a perfect fit for Belgium Ultimate and for just Ultimate in general.
So, what have you? I bet you've been watching a little bit of Boston in Belgium. So what have you seen that Boston does well that makes them a championship caliber team?
Because they have 2 Belgians.
It's good enough for me. So coming to New York to play, what drew you to play for the Empire?
I think the professionality of the team. So how you guys organize stuff and how professional it goes, and who's also playing in this team. I think I was eager to play at practice against this kind of players, and then also connect with this kind of players. And of course, New York is also a world city. So this is a huge opportunity for me and an adventure that I never will forget. So, yeah.
Before joining the Empire, which teammates did you recognize from the club or international world that you were excited to play with?
JR, Jack Williams, of course. Who else? There are a lot of teams actually, a lot of players actually. But probably those 2, yeah.
So not Alex. What should Empire fans be excited about that you bring?
I think it's grit. I think I just love winning, and I will do whatever it takes to win the game. If it's an ugly game, I will make it as ugly as possible to win the game, and if it's beautiful, I will try to do the most beautiful things, hopefully. but mostly my grit and just my passion for the sport, to never give up, and to hopefully help this organization to win games.
Do you think you love winning more, or you think you love winning?
I love winning more, actually. Yeah.
So, from the games you watched of the Empire, which game did you enjoy watching the most from New York?
There were some blowouts. I think probably the DC game that we lost, because it was kind of a wake-up call. Like, hey boys, like, it's maybe early season, but we gotta wake up right now. And I think from then there was maybe like a mindset change of like, okay, we are good, but we need to act like it and play like it. So,
what is the secret in handling pressure? Let me rephrase that. What would you say to a young player on how to handle pressure?
Like, you kind of zone out. If you're playing well and you feel confident, I think the more you're gonna play, the more you're gonna like zone out in those kind of moments, and then you don't even feel the pressure anymore. It's more like you're like in this zone of like you don't even know what's happening, and you also don't remember what's happening. So I think just keep playing as much as you can and get used to like touching disc every day.
Yeah. Flow state. What is your favorite throw to throw?
I like the lefty. Like the lefty fake, and then the higher release lefty. Probably one of my favorites.
You threw it over there.
Yeah, I did it once. Yeah.
What do you think about playing Chicago this year?
It's gonna be fun. I love those guys. I think the city is great as well. Yeah, they kind of changed the team a little bit, but yeah, I'm hyped to play them and to see everyone back and say hello to some other players as well.
Okay. Last question. How far is Belgium going in the World Cup this year?
I think we're the underdogs, and we're like I think if we reach quarters, I would be very happy, and it would be cool to have us in quarters, maybe against the US or something. That would be fun.
Who on Belgium's squad is taking?
Big Romelu Lukaku.
And then actually, this is the last question. So you formerly played midfield in football. So how do you think being a midfielder and playing football, soccer growing up has translated?
First off, I think vision-wise, I think as a midfielder, you see the field almost every time and see where the spaces are. And then I think endurance-wise is also very important. The physicality as well. Even if it's like less physical in frisbee, I think it still like gives you like that edge sometimes that you need. I think endurance is probably the most thing that was my strongest point. And yeah, if you have that and you can play multiple points in a row or in a game, I think it's a big advantage, especially if you're a great player.
'25 is all about Boston.
The 2025 UFA Championship belongs to Boston.
And this year, it still feels like, yes, the division goes to Boston.
They're in that position. You're likely thinking you're going to stay in the driver's seat for the rest of the season, most likely.
Reigning league MVP, Tober de Krana, Thomas Edmonds, former MVP, Rowan McDonald, and the defending UFA champions for New York. The big picture could not get any bigger.
New York, they're trying to prove that they're the East favorite.
Letting it rip. There's help defense there. Benyat goes into McCann and skies for the score. Oh, goodness. He saw the help defense. He read it beautifully, and he shows that he's still got the hops at age 33 to do things like this.
And in this heat, you're winning the energy battle early.
Looking for LeVar. Back of the end zone. Will he have the room? He's in. And he's fired up. Now Cohen with a big chunk. 10 seconds. Looking end zone. Atkins beats Lander to Krana. And stares him down.
Well, now I'm quiet.
Do you guys even need this Belgian guy that I've heard about is joining your team sometime soon?
Who? Danny? Danny, I think his name is? It's getting pretty close to impossible.
De Marrée going deep. Oh, incredible! Welcome to New York, Daan De Marrée. They've been waiting for you.
LeVar puts it out in front. For almost anybody else, this is too far, but not for De Marrée. He makes the spectacular seam routine.
I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully he fits in when he gets here.
And here's Cowan. De Marrée, a little hesitation move up the line. Lander to Krana into the back of his good friend. But it's Daan De Marrée who's got the goal with a grin on his face.
Daan De Marrée reads the play, takes the contact, and then gives his own countryman a little bit of a shove playfully.
There's Orion Cable. High stall situation. Randolph Callahan! Another New York break in with style. It's John Randolph. The Callahan makes it 4-1 Empire.
John Randolph is going to eat that up every single time.
We say it every week. Our D-line is the hardest D-line we face. We never take any team easy.
It's just the fact that it's the product of all the hard work we've been putting in. So it feels really, really good. Time will tell how high we can go.
Hola fanáticos de Empire, ShopEmpireUltimate.com es tu casa para toda la ropa y cosas de Empire. ShopEmpireUltimate.com es el mejor lugar para alistarte para el siguiente juego de Empire.
It's the regular season rematch to end all rematches. A week ago, two of the league's best battled it out up in Boston in Daan De Marrée's Empire debut, with New York and their Belgian making a statement. Both teams added wins 24 hours later, as the top spot in the East is still very much up for grabs. Glory have come down to the city that never sleeps, with Tober to Krana and company hoping to avoid any more nightmares. The Stars are out in New York. It's Empire, it's Glory, and it's next. Hello and welcome to the Big Apple to New York City. It's East Division time with the New York Empire and the Boston Glory. While the thunderstorms did make us wait, the Stars are out tonight at the stadium at Memorial Field. These two teams met 1 week ago with the debut of Daan De Marrée. I bet we're going to talk about him plenty tonight. Both teams are 6-1, but the New York Empire do hold that at least first tiebreaker against the Boston Glory, who have a gigantic road trip coming up this weekend. First against New York, and then tomorrow against D.C. Dan Hilton and Keith Rayner here for you in the booth for the Game of the Week on WatchUFA.tv, with the first quarter taking place on YouTube Live on the Empire's YouTube channel. Now, Keith, I mentioned that big road trip for Boston, and as much as this game is about the hometown team in the Empire making sure they at least get a split against the Glory, I think this whole weekend is really about Boston, without many of their big names, getting the job done to make sure they can at least host some kind of playoff game.
A defining weekend in the division, Dan. And this Boston team, you mentioned shorthanded. There's some folks missing from this New York team. But both these teams have enough star power that even without those key characters in their stories, they still have plenty of main characters to roll out. And, we've been waiting all year for this guy to arrive. And you want to talk about main character energy, Daan De Marrée is playing with it right now.
Well, the other guy with main character energy on the defensive side of this last week was John Randolph. Was huge in that game, including the Callahan against his former collegiate mate in Ned Dick. Of course, Ben Yacht coming down in double coverage with stuff, and New York jumped out early in that game thanks to their defense, Keith, and they never looked back.
Yeah, after last year when these two teams matched up, all the games were really close. This has been the biggest matchup of this rivalry. As far as final deficit, things got a little heated at points between these two teams. They know they're going to bring the best out of each other.
Looking at the East standings, we know that, again, this division could come down to tiebreakers, and the Empire having lost on this same field to DC, but then going down to DC getting a 4-point win means they hold the tiebreaker over the 6-2 DC Breeze, who again tomorrow have to host Boston in another important win. So now you see the battle for the East. For New York, just get the job done. For Boston, you've got some work to do.
Boston needs to win this game by multiple points in order to be in a good position coming out in a potential tiebreaker. Obviously, they also need to do well against DC. And while if you just stack up the rosters next to each other, you maybe think you got to favor New York right now. Last time we saw New York here, they lost to a short-handed DC team in this trio of matchups. But now Daan De Marrée is back in the fold for New York Empire. Great debut, three goals, 369 yards against Boston. He is off to a strong start, and we're expecting a lot of him as he goes up against some of his Belgian countrymen on this Boston side.
Yeah, Daan De Marrée, this is game number 3 for him. He had 3 goals against Boston last week, and then the next day against Montreal. We know it's a swirling win up in the Canadian North, but still managed 3 assists and 3 blocks. You see the hand block there. And led by, again, the star power of Daan De Marrée. Tonight, without John Randolph, again, that being the Empire, will be relying on their Belgian star. On the other side, I said Belgian star, so we're going to go 86 kilometers to the northwest up in Belgium, this time to Ghent. And we've somehow talked for almost 4 minutes now without talking about Toba de Krana. Keith, I feel like I'm already in trouble.
The reigning MVP, Toba de Krana, and somehow we have competing Belgian stars roughly the same age from different parts of the country, and they've traveled all the way to the U.S., and these imports are high-powered. Toba showing off last year as a first-year player in the league, what he could do. The guy can do it all offensively. He's a great defender, but really, he is an engine for a team's offense, and Boston's going to need him today, missing some of their other key offensive pieces. But everybody knows if Toba's on the field, this Boston offense will be dangerous.
Toba de Krana has victimized the New York Empire before. Maybe it's time for Daan De Marrée against the Boston Glory. As I promised, the stars are out. Whether it's Alex Atkins, Ben Gott, and everybody that the Boston Glory have brought down to New York. We've got a good one coming up on the Game of the Week on WatchUFA.tv. Don't go anywhere. We've got the opening poll on the other side of the break.
The Ultimate Frisbee Association is proud to partner with Victory. Elevate your game with Victory insoles and recovery footwear at VKTRY.com. Delta THC Seltzers. No calories, no sugar, no alcohol. Catch life's moments at DrinkDelta.com. Two Town Cider House, bringing the best craft cider for everyday celebration. Find yours at TwoTownCiderHouse.com. And Diskit. RoundNet meets Ultimate. Diskit is the must-have portable game for every UFA fan. Get yours at DiskitGame.com.
Here at the stadium at Memorial Field, again, want to thank you for joining myself, Dan Hilton, and Keith Rayner for this gigantic, ginormous, humongous East Division matchup between two rivals, the defending champs and the 3-time champs in the New York Empire. Again, the Boston Glory coming down for a doubleheader to take on the DC Breeze tomorrow down at Carlini Field. Keith, for Boston. Again, they might be shorthanded, but this is still very much a winnable game.
This is a team that is incredibly efficient in the red zone. They usually play small ball really well. This New York team also dangerous in the red zone, so I really think this Boston side needs to figure out on offense, how do we maintain our level of efficiency, and for against New York's offense, how can we get just a few takeaways in the red zone, lower their efficiency level. And for this New York team, they really want to crank up the pressure defensively. They know that this Boston team wants to play small ball. They're missing some pieces. So apply the pressure, make up for the lack of John Randolph, who's often the engine for this defense, by getting underneath, generating blocks, and putting the other team in a short field situation where you don't need your big offensive piece to score.
Well, speaking of offensive pieces, maybe the best offense in the entire league in the New York Empire kicks us off tonight.
Alex Atkins, University of Colorado Boulder.
Matt LeBar, James Madison University.
Ben Yacht, Minnesota.
Jack Williams, UNC Wellington.
Braden Eberhardt, Brigham Young University.
Jacob Cowan, Grinnell College.
Daan De Marrée, UCLL.
So there we see again the Belgian import. There were early questions whether he'd play defense, but with all the offensive skills that he has in his arsenal, it made sense again to fit him in, and that has meant that Oliver Chartok, who was regularly a member of that O-line for the Empire, has shifted over to D-line. On the other side, the D-line for the Boston Glory, of course, with the disc. We were talking about Belgians, and we're not done just yet. This, I promise, is the final one, in Leonard Akana will be pulling this one.
Big impact addition for Boston's D-line. Expect to see him take on one of the most important matchups on the Empire.
As well as Rowan McDonald, who is matching up with Jack Williams. So an MVP against a guy who could potentially someday have still an MVP. Jack goes up the sideline.
Interesting to see Thomas Edmonds also out on this D point.
Yeah, he'll be facing off against Matt LeBar. Two of those all-rounder. I would probably, Keith, say that Thomas Edmonds has, at this point, guaranteed himself, I'd say, superstar status. I'd say LeBar's still on the verge of stardom. Here's Williams again. Looking for De Marrée. Good cut by Cowan to find that space up the sideline. Back to De Marrée. That was one thing that Sam Rosenthal spoke with us about this week is could that defense for Boston find a way to strand the cutters for New York downfield as Matt LeBar is still working up this sideline. Now it's Yacht's turn in the backfield. Centers to LeBar.
We're seeing New York operate in the red zone. This is where Boston just needs a couple errors to feel like they're winning this space.
Speaking of winning the space, one of the guys who's done it best in UFA history in Ben Yacht blows his first kiss of the game, probably not the last, and Alex Atkins, potential MVP candidate, maybe even the front runner at this point, winds up throwing the assist as New York. They had to work for it, though. 1-0.
Leonard Akana given the role of covering Yacht, and I think we're going to probably see a lot of that matchup. They really benefit from having Leonard's size on this Boston team, especially missing some of the bigs that they usually have. I think most of the time you'd say the Glory are pretty much the biggest team you're going to come against, but they're missing some of the size that usually is on this team. We'll see what their O-line's going to look like, missing some pieces as well, and what the Empire will look like without JR.
Well, we're seeing Peter Borth, who is moving over. It's not just Jeff Babbitt unavailable tonight. It is Ned Dick, it's Ben Sadok, so both of the regular handlers behind the disc. Some of the only players for that O-line is the man with the disc here in Ryan Dinger. Keeps his spot in the backfield. Tobert Akrana, Simon Carapella, Albert Yuan played O-line last season, and he's just been able to recover from injury and return to the Glory, having got hurt in the first game of the season. Simmons against Carapella, that's a fun matchup in the middle space.
Boston's going to need better handler play than they got the last time these two teams faced off last week.
It's DeCrana going up early over Drew Snodigal, and then aiming for the end zone. Towing that final step. Albert Yuan only had a moment to both catch the disc and get a foot down against Marquez Brownlee. And the Duke product did it all.
Well, if it was Brownlee wearing the stripes right there, that would be ruled out of bounds. He was incredulous that Yuan managed to get that toe in, but a nice job from the former U.S. national team cutter. He was on the under-24 national team out of Duke. Able to finish this playoff with a little fancy footwork. DeCrana getting it just in.
See, we get the benefit of replay, but we didn't get the benefit of seeing exactly where that line was. So
just a little above the toes.
We're just going to have to go with the stripes on this one. We sit at 1-1 as both teams with clean holds, and that'll be important too. Again, the Empire tops in the league on O-line conversions with 67%. Meanwhile, in 5th place are the Boston Glory at 58%. But a lot, again, had to do with Jeff Babbitt being available in that handler space.
Well, while we're talking absences, the Empire also missing Saul Royschmeyer-Bailey.
Right, for the second straight game, yep.
Most reliable lefty in the league. And they'll have to operate offensively without him.
And defensively, too, for Boston, Tanner Johnson-Go unavailable today. Tyler Chan unavailable today. Orion Cable unavailable today. Jack Williams to Kai Sneedegers. Sneedegers, that's a beauty of a throw to the opposite side to Alice Atkins.
And Kins just keeps piling them up, Dan. He's certainly not hurting his MVP case by opening the first 2 scores, by getting on the board. And not a guy you want to let get hot. And that's pretty much been the state that he's been in for the entirety of this UFA season. Sneedegers with lots of room, so he's able to put this out. Maybe wanted a little more distance on this. For a moment, it looked like a defender might have a shot at it, but...
And Kai Sneedegers, interesting story coming out of California, University of California, Santa Cruz product. The 28-year-old, very much fitting into what is necessary when you're trying to build championship contenders. That is role players.
What a nice find for them to be able to port him into the offensive line of the star-studded team. Guy without a lot of renown to his name.
So here's Edmonds for this O-line. We know he's going to play both sides of the disc aplenty this weekend. Again, tomorrow he and McDonald head down to D.C. to take their former side on. Borth against the rookie, Charlie Panarella. And working through Turner Allen as the fulcrum. They double Edmonds. We're waiting for Carapella to get free. Wes Gann wearing the number 53 tonight for the Empire. His second game in a New York uniform. There's Tober DeCrana. Question was a pick. Oliver Fay was the man guarding him, and yeah, he was a bit of a distance away. We'll head back to Peter Borth at midfield.
Miscommunication between Borth and DeCrana coming back into play. They weren't timed up.
So there's the first unforced error of this contest. It's not going to count as a block. This is Axel Agami-Contreras.
He's returning to the lineup, so something of a swap with him and Randolph.
And hopefully he's just finished celebrating, originally from Mexico City. That's where he was born. Rooting for Mexico in the World Cup as the U.S. plays. As we're probably going to be in our second half. No spoilers, please, Keith. No spoilers. Again, we enjoy the fact that everyone was able to see this first quarter free on YouTube, on the Empire's YouTube channel. Then remember to hang out with us for the rest of this game of the week over on watchufa.tv. Get your subscription. It's Fay to Yan, and Yan read it well. Carapella was coming with that pressure. Yan knows a number of these Boston Glory players as he played his collegiate ball at BU, Boston University. Simmons and Fay, almost a miscommunication there. Popped up on Fay. At this point, maybe the coaching staff for the Empire could be considering a timeout here. I think about it, and I guess the coaching staff agrees.
And this is pretty typical, but you see a few D-line guys throw up their hands like, come on, we were so close. We did all the hard work.
Well, the question for this timeout, though, at this point, is do you continue to try to work down that O-line for Boston, knowing they are shorthanded?
And I do think that's the question to ask, and I think you should. Personally, I think you want to try and wear down this group as much as you can, not give them any freebies, make them have to work through this, especially because the D-line, while they weren't moving it downfield a lot, they were being pretty disciplined, so extending the possession could be beneficial, but also useful to get up a break. So understand the perspective of the Empire coaching staff deciding to make the swap here.
Again, the one turnover in this game happening on this point will not go in the book as a block, but rather just a turnover. Starting with the disc with his Empire O-line. Let's start with Oscar Graf, though, actually defending Alice Atkins on this point. A layout, but just short for Brendan McCann. And Daan De Marrée in the end zone. Trey Manic-Beak from Daan De Marrée. Taking that open side cone. Yeah, it's so difficult. I wouldn't even call that a full double move, merely just a little change of pace, change of speed.
He's so agile. It's really difficult to keep up with him in a small space because he can really take off very quickly. And LeVar delivers him one on a platter there.
McCann wasn't too far away, as McCann's former team, Minnesota, will be playing in our Friday Night Frisbee, also on YouTube. Evan Lepler and Ian Tona will have that game for you at 9:45
Battle
p.m.
of the Undefeateds.
Battle of the Undefeateds, yeah. That's why double screens. That's why we have phones and tablets. I heard that's why they were invented. So you could do both.
I'll be curious to see how much we see Boston attack the deep space with this offensive grouping. Travel called on Edmonds is going to send them backwards, but usually they have guys. They still have Toba DeCrona out there, but usually they're able to target guys like Orion Cable in the deep space.
Kind of a 50-50, but Toba DeCrona had the beat on it the whole way. Edmonds with the break. And we've got another pick downfield. And feels like we're getting a lot of early calls. So that's the now second pick call, and there was a travel call already. And maybe that has something to do with, again, some of the new pieces entering this Boston Glory O-line.
Disorganization, sloppy cutting. It's too early for it to be fatigue, but Boston's got to clean things up a little bit.
Carapella under pressure. 3 goals, 10 assists for him already this season. Now working through the middle there.
DeCrona's been trying to set up a deep opportunity and then uses that to create space to come underneath against Whitlock.
Well done, sending Edmonds in stride. Edmond looking for the final throw. Back to Peter Borth. Now Carapella in the most dangerous spot on the field. To DeCrona, to the most dangerous man on the field. Whitlock on the mark on Borth. And DeCrona, Sam Jonas. You see what it means to him.
Well, the Empire defense went fishing, and DeCrona took the bait. They had that sized up the whole way.
Yeah, we see Boston so often looking for Ryan Dinger when he vacates the handler space, tries to set up in the back of the end zone. That was the game plan there. But Sam Jonas going horizontal.
Another chance for the Empire to put some miles on the legs of the Glory O-line.
Remember last week, they jumped out to a 5-1 lead. And right now they're at 3-1. Can take it to 4-1 with a goal here.
Dangerous situation for Boston. Don't want to end up trying to play from behind when you're shorthanded on the front end of a back-to-back.
Ben Simmons the layout to retain possession. Again, this is that moment where you're kind of thinking that the Empire D-line might be missing John Randolph. These are the times when he goes every other. Again, what is the leash that these D-lines are going to have without the potential defensive player of the year? This is our second hammer across to the center of the field. And as a coach yourself, 50-50 hammers in the middle of the field, right? It does get your blood pressure going a little bit.
Antoine choosing to go over the top just to make sure that the mark's not going to be a problem. You love getting back to the middle of the field.
Shoestring catch from Whitlock, and Agami Contreras has break number 2.
Well, you think of the New Zealand import, Nick Whitlock, and all that size and length and how it helps you go up. Turns out it can help you go down, too. Able to extend the arms down to pull that one up before it hits the turf. And Agami Contreras gets on the board.
See Sam Jonas again. And then Ben Simmons, just as important on the layout to retain possession. Few low throws here on this point from New York. And Agami Contreras able to finish it off. And you've just seen up and down the roster this year, so many of those fresh young faces, including Nicholas Whitlock, Charlie Panarella, and Wes Yan too, Luke Barry, so many of them jumping into this New York team and able to have an impact. Again, Kai Sneederger's fitting in on that O-line, and Eamon Keneally coming out of Syracuse. A lot of those names, you cover a lot of college, a lot of those names look familiar to me.
Sure, but I think you'd have to be a pretty intense college fan to even know these guys, like many of the Empire players, are coming from smaller programs that aren't nationally known. You talk about Boston, JMU. I don't know any colleges in New Zealand, any universities.
Auckland actually is one of the biggest. Auckland University. We gotta get our.
I could have guessed that one.
Yeah, I know. We've got to do our Oceania geography.
Georgetown. I mean, we're talking about programs that are not as well known, but the Empire have consistently been able to get fertile recruiting ground out of these East Coast schools.
Yeah. Meanwhile, again, there also are 2 players for this Empire team in Sam McCrory and Ethan Lehman, who are coming off a college title with UMass. But on the other side, on the O-line for Boston, of course, is Rowan Dunkerley, captain of that UMass side, and a ton of, again, past and present UMass players here. Cam Levine, an O-liner for that UMass team, and a U20 U.S. men's in 2024 World Junior Champ, making his UFA debut tonight.
He got a couple reps already on defense. We'll see if he can make an impact. He had a very strong Nationals. Could be in the running for Rookie of the Year in Ulti World's honors.
And, of course, again, Jeff Babbitt, Ben Katz, so many former Ben Sadok, of course, one Player of the Year that year.
Tanner Johnson-Go.
Of course, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. That is just, I think, a stone-cold drop from Turner Allen out of Vermont.
That actually was Cam Levine in his debut. Maybe some early nerves from the youngster.
This might also be, it's not necessarily slippery as the Empire give it right back. It's Oliver Chartok, too low for Wes Yan. And you mentioned the humidity. While the disc itself is not wet, again, the thunderstorms coming through, certainly making the air feel pretty soupy. It's a little too hot for Stu for me at this point, Keith.
Actually, we're in heat level 1 coming into this game, so there's an extra break here in the first quarter. We'll see if it maintains that. I think as the evening goes on, we should drop back down.
And for Boston, they will have, and they do have Rowan McDonald here to help shepherd this D-line. And Oscar Graff, of course, who's been one of the best D-line handlers. And he's the one who finishes off the play. Courtesy, the assist from Zach Singer out of Tufts. That's a Tufts to Tufts connection.
Oscar Graff, a fiery, intense player with exactly what you want out of a D-line kind of bulldog. Came up in the Utah scene, and it's really, I think, hitting his stride with the Glory. 10 goals, 6 assists, and 7 blocks for him coming into this game. So he could add to that now 11 goals. And also another U24 national teamer.
So for Boston, I think, Keith, you have to say, too, with 25 seconds left remaining here in this first quarter, you get the sense that for Boston, that was a huge relief to be able to put that goal in. Knowing that if you go down, again, 5-1 as opposed to 4-2, feels a lot different. Again, the early hole that Boston found themselves in up in Medford last week, they were unable to carve themselves out. So correction, we've got 22 seconds now. We're in the sideline. Cowan. Senegers. Now De Marrée for Yacht. 7 seconds. Aiming end zone. A lot of pushing and shoving, but De Marrée could not hang on. Good defense by Brendan McCann. And that is how the first quarter comes to an end. New York, with 2 breaks, leads Boston 4-2. At this point, we want to thank our YouTube audience for helping us get through that first quarter of play and bearing with us after the thunderstorm. If you want to watch the remainder of this game, please, again, go over to watchufa.tv, get your subscription, and make sure you enjoy every single UFA game from coast to coast. We get action just like you're seeing here in this one and everybody else. We will see you in the second quarter.